You had a good feeling about him. All of a sudden, you heard in the corner of the restaurant, "Oh no! A customer!" You looked in the corner of the restaurant, noticing a relatively large man, presumably maybe one of the cooks. From the sight he's seen, I'm pretty sure the blonde guy's in trouble. The large man started to speak up again. "God damn it, not another one, Sanji! What do you think you're doing to our customer? Can't you see it's a Marine lieutenant?" "Sanji. That's his name, I guess." Sanji spoke up. "You're a terrible cook. What makes you think you can talk to me like that?" The large man argued back as he was approaching the blonde man. "A crappy cook like you is calling me bad? Restaurants can't exist without their customers. We don't want to hurt them like you keep on seem to do." The blonde man spoke up, but he deserved it. He didn't treat the food or me with respect. And he insulted all the cooks. As he said those words, he dropped the Marine lieutenant on the floor. The lieutenant fell to his knees. The blonde man spoke up again. So I simply taught him a lesson. You, Nami, Zoro, and Usa were just standing at the door frame, waiting until the fight is over. The Marine lieutenant spoke up. "You're gonna regret this. All of you," he said in a shaky voice. "No restaurant should treat their customers like this. I'll shut you down. You hear me? I will shut you down. This entire place." The blonde man shot him an angry side-eye glare. The way the blonde man looked at the Marine lieutenant was so fascinating. It was the same look that you gave to... never mind. Remembering that in that moment, it shouldn't matter. Besides, the whole crew doesn't know the full story of your past, and you would like to keep it that way. But moving on. Until you notice the Marine lieutenant keeps on speaking. "This entire restaurant is finished. You hear me?" The blonde man spoke again. "So I should finish you off now," the blonde man said. Those words. It felt like deja vu. Nami noticed the very concerned expression I had on my face. "You okay, listener?" she said. "Oh, yeah, I just felt something weird across my neck." She probably knew I was lying, but she knew I probably didn't want to talk about it. Looking back at the Marine lieutenant, he looked up with a surprised and scared face. The blonde man started approaching the Marine lieutenant. Presumably the other chefs started to approach Sanji. Well, they told him, "You Chef Sanji, stop!" all of them said, as they hold him back in a lock form. The blonde man's eyes were such much hatred. "Shots like you think you can push everybody around. People like that piss me off," the blonde man said in a shout as the other chefs tried to stop him in his haste. To be honest, you wondered, if they weren't to stop him, what would he do? Till the blonde man shouted out once more. "Not such a big shot now, are you?" he said as the men tried to pull him back. In the middle of it, the roof collapsed. You saw Luffy and another man fall down from it. You thought to yourself, "Why is Luffy like this?" You heard Luffy said, "I can breathe again." One of the chefs said, "Boss Seth, what's going on around here? You didn't hurt yourself, did you?" The old blonde man said, "Damn it, my ceiling. Another thing has to be fixed by you." Luffy looked up with a dumbfounded face. The old man spoke up again. "This is all your fault, brat." Luffy protested back. "How's it my fault? You attacked me!" He quickly switched back to the blonde man and the other chefs trying to hold him back from killing the Marine lieutenant. One of the chefs said, "Boss, can you stop messing around and help us? Sanji's gone crazy again." The old man spoke up again. "Hey, Sanji, don't tell me you went on another rampage, you idiot!" The blonde man yelled back at the old man. "Put a cork in it, you old man." "Oh, now you're ordering me around," the old man said in reply. "Just who do you think you're talking to? You want to sink my restaurant to the bottom of the sea? You punk!" the old man said while kicking him with his wooden leg. The Marine lieutenant smiled in aspiration. The old man switched the topics and went to the Marine lieutenant and shouted at him. "You too! Get your ass out of my restaurant!" he said while kicking the Marine lieutenant also. The Marine lieutenant fell back onto his stomach, sprawled out on the floor. You thought to yourself, "This restaurant is so intricate." The Marine lieutenant tried to get up with the shaky body, presumably by the pain. And switching back to the large man that pointed out Sanji's outrage breakout. "How could you deny our motto that the customer is king? Only ones that we should call king that can stomach down you slop that's called food," the blonde man said and replied. That's it. If you two want to fight, you keep it in the kitchen, the old man said to both of them. You, Nami, Usopp, and Zoro found a table to sit at, since all four of you didn't want to stand up. All of a sudden, through the doorway, you heard, Lieutenant! All of a sudden, a Marine soldier came through the door crying out. The Marine soldier said, in a shaky voice, We got trouble. Sir, he's escaped. Song Creek's henchman attacked us. He vanished. The Marine lieutenant looked back in shock. What? As they were blabbering on, they were focusing on the blonde man. You don't know what's about him, but you had a weird feeling about him. Feeling that you can't really describe. It was kind of similar when you killed your parents. Release and freedom. That's how you described it. But never mind that. You look back to the Marine soldier. All of a sudden, the Marine soldier got shot. You weren't scared or anything. It was interesting of how the bullets went straight through the Marine soldier. You started naming off bullets that could have went through him, but you had no time to think about that. The man that shot the Marine soldier walked straight through the door over the person he shot. The man walked up to the table and sat down. The man had a gash wound, presumably he was bleeding from his head, but you couldn't tell which part of his head since he was wearing a headband. A green shirt and a strange light jacket that you never really seen before. He sat down, putting his feet against the table. The man spoke up. I don't care what it is. Bring me something to eat. Come on, this is a restaurant. A large man was at his table. Hello and welcome, you damn crook. You heard some gasp in the background. The man that was sitting at the table said, I'm just gonna say this one last time. Bring me something to eat. And make it quick. The large man said, Of course, right away. But may I be so bold to inquire, how are you gonna pay for this? The man that was sitting at the table pointed his gun to the man's forehead and said, Would a bullet be enough? So you don't have any money, huh? In the blink of the eye, the large man lifted up his arms and smashed the table, including the man with the gun. Sorry, pirate, but our policy is we can only feed paying customers. Everybody started wooing and cheering. At this point, you've lost interest of watching it, and you looked back at the menu. 20 minutes later, you guys ordered some waters and appetizers just to pass the time before the main course comes. Finished my drink before anybody else. Presumably, I was really thirsty, but I hardly touched my food. Well, the appetizer, to be precise. Half an hour passed by. You and the others noticed Luffy coming downstairs from presumably the kitchen. Nami shouted out to get Luffy's attention. Hey, chore boy! Luffy noticed all the food that we had already. Luffy said, What are you doing? Usa said, We heard you had to work here for a whole year. Zoro said in reply, Is it okay if we redraw the flag for our ship? Luffy said, presumably not to the ship, but all the food we have. You're eating all this food without me? What kind of crew are you? How could you do this to me? Luffy noticed I didn't touch any of my food and asked me, Can I please have some of your food, listener, please? No, Luffy, you can't. What? You're hardly touching it. Sorry, but I said no. He let out a really sad grumble. Zoro started laughing. As he was, Luffy dropped something in his glass of water. You didn't know what, but you presumably think it's really not that great what he dropped in his water. Nami and Usa started chuckling, but you knew that Zoro noticed that Luffy dropped something in his water. Zoro said as he was picking up the glass, Johnny was right, the food here is delicious. Good stuff. As he was raising the glass to his lips, Yes, it is, he said, while he was still slowly lifting the glass to his lips. I feel bad for you, but this is just good for yourself, as he shouted out as he shoved the water glass into Luffy's mouth. But you couldn't contain your laughter after that. Nami and Usa presumably followed your lead. Nami, Usa, and you were presumably laughing out loud as Luffy was choking on the water. Luffy said in disgust as he was laying on the floor, Why'd you do that? Yeah, I can't believe you did that, Zoro said and replied. You, Nami, and Usa were laughing so hard you three were banging your fist on the table. You were laughing so hard you can hardly breathe. All of a sudden you heard, Oh dear ocean, thank you for sharing this treasure from your depths. Noticed right next to you, The blonde man? He was holding up a rose, presumably to you. What the? I said in a nervous and surprised voice. The blonde man presumably carried on. Ah, yes, my love. I can't bear this hardship of loving you from afar. It's too much. He said on one knee. I'm not prepared to sail to the ends of the earth being a pirate. A rare beauty like you can be by my side. My face sort of reddened. You whispered to Nami. What is he doing? I think he's trying to flirt with you. And what is this flirting? You asked Nami with a questioning voice. Luffy and Zoro were giving very weird faces to the guy. As the man kept on blabbering on, you were still kinda talking to Nami. Presumably the blonde man didn't notice it. Nami said, You don't know what flirting is? I don't know, I've never been flirted with, and nobody has ever called me these such nice names. Nami said and replied, I think I had to catch up on some things. Blonde man said in desperation as you were holding the rose he gave you. We'll be together sailing the seas. How tragic it is, a great obstacle blocks our ways. And the man with the wooden leg approached. And that obstacle would be me, right? He said to the blonde man, which now I know his name is confirmed to be Sanji. Sanji said, Ugh, stupid geezer. The old man said, This is an opportunity that you can't pass up. Maybe leave and become a pirate. I have no need to keep you on this boat. You have no idea what's happening. And you don't know what this strange feeling in your chest is. But all you know is Sanji is very intricate. In a good way. But there was also another feeling. Not to Sanji, but you feel like something's about to happen. Something not well.